There's a version of this car with a wing you could serve dinner on, an engine that screams to 9,000 RPM, and flaps up front that open on the straights like a Formula One car. It is not the most expensive one in this video, and the engine inside it is about to be illegal. That's level 6. We start a lot lower, and here's the part nobody tells you. Every other car brand works the same way. More money, more car. Porsche is the one company that built a ladder where the best rung might not be the top one and might not even be the expensive one. So by the end, tell me in the comments which level you'd actually park in your garage. Level 1, 911 Carrera. This is where it starts, and everybody underrates it. Starts around $135,000. Twin turbo flat 6 behind the rear wheels. 388 horsepower. 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds. Read that again. The slowest, cheapest, most basic 911 you can buy hits 60 faster than muscle cars people build entire garages around. Here's the myth. Everyone tells you the base Carrera is for people who couldn't afford the real one, that it's the participation trophy 911. They're wrong. The base Carrera is the one the guys who own the GT3 quietly grab for the grocery run, because the magic of a 911 was never the horsepower number. It's the balance, the steering, the way the whole car pivots around your hips, and every single one of those things is already here, at the bottom of the ladder, at full strength. The catch? It's PDK only, no manual. If rowing your own gears is the whole point for you, hold that thought, because Level 2 exists for exactly one reason. Level 2, 911 Carrera T. Level 2 is where you pay more money, for less car, on purpose. Around $148,000. Same 388 horsepower as the base car. Not one extra pony. So what are you buying? You're buying subtraction. They delete the rear seats. They thin out the sound deadening. They drop the ride height and add the sport suspension. And then they hand you the one thing the base car won't sell you at any price. A 6-speed manual. This is the connoisseur handshake. The T owner isn't flexing on the gram. He's flexing on you quietly at Cars and Coffee by being the guy who chose the harder, purer, slower car and enjoyed it more. The myth here is that lighter and manual means faster. It doesn't. A base Carrera with PDK would walk it in a straight line. That's not the point. The T isn't about the stopwatch. It's about the fact that only 2 911s in the entire lineup still come with a clutch pedal. This is one of them. The other one costs about $100,000 more, and we'll get there. Level 3, 911 Carrera S and 4S. Level 3 is the smart money, and I need most of you to hear this next part. Carrera S starts around $156,000, jumps to 473 horsepower. The 4S adds all-wheel drive for the same power, so it hooks up in the rain and the snow when the rear-drive cars are doing their best ice dancing impression. This is the 911 the reviewers pick when someone puts a gun to their head and says, choose one. Because here's the honest math. You've now got 100 more horsepower than the base car, you've got the chassis that made this car a legend, and you're still tens of thousands of dollars below the stuff that starts getting silly. So let me say the thing YouTube car channels are not supposed to say. For 80% of you watching this, the ladder should end right here. This is the ceiling of need. Everything above this line is want. Beautiful, glorious, unnecessary want. Which, let's be honest, is exactly why you're going to keep watching. Level 4. 911 Carrera GTS Hybrid. Level 4 is where Porsche shows you the future, and it involves a word enthusiasts were terrified of. Hybrid. Around 181,000. 532 horsepower. And yes, there is now a battery in your 911. Before the comments melt down, understand what this actually is. This is not a Prius with a spoiler. The hybrid system here is Formula One thinking. A tiny electric motor spins the turbo up instantly, so the lag that every turbo car fights just disappears. You crack the throttle, and the response is right there, like the engine read your mind. The myth is that the hybrid makes it soft. It doesn't. It makes it sharper. Here's the honest trade-off, though. All that clever tech has weight. And this is the level where you start paying serious money for numbers you will genuinely never use on a public road. The GTS is brilliant. It's also the exact moment the spending stops making sense and starts making feelings. And speaking of numbers you can't use, Level 5 said, hold my espresso. Level 5, 911 Turbo S. Level 5 is the missile. and it's the one enthusiasts respect the least. Let me explain that contradiction. Around 270,000, 701 horsepower, all-wheel drive, 0 to 60 in about 2.4 seconds, 2.4. That's not a car number anymore. That's a superbike number. That's the kind of acceleration that rearranges your internal organs and makes your passenger stop talking mid-sentence. The Turbo S is the surgeon. It never misses. Rain, dry, uphill, jet-lagged, hungover, doesn't matter. Point it, and it goes, with a competence that's almost boring. Your accountant feels this one leave the driveway. So why do the purists sniff at the fastest 911 of them all? Because it's too good. It's so effortless, it forgets to involve you. It's the 911 for the man who wants to win the stoplight and the spreadsheet and doesn't need the car to sing while it does it. And that is where this whole ladder is about to break. Because at level 6, the price goes down and the desire goes through the roof. Level 6, 911 GT3 and GT3 RS. Stop the video and look at the price. The GT3 starts around $236,000. That's less than the Turbo S you just watched. Cheaper car, more status. Welcome to Porsche, the only place on earth where money stops making sense. Here's why. The GT3 throws out the turbos entirely. In their place, a naturally aspirated 4-liter flat 6 that revs to 9,000 RPM and makes a sound that grown men describe like a religious experience. 502 horsepower, every one of them earned at the top of the Tach. Manual or PDK, your choice. This is the second car in the whole lineup with a clutch pedal. Remember the T? This is where that promise pays off. And then there's the RS, the wing from the hook, around $250,000 and up. Formula One style aero. Flaps that open and close for downforce on demand. A center radiator borrowed straight off the race car. It generates so much downforce, it's basically trying to drive on the ceiling. This isn't a fast road car. It's a race car they were legally forced to put a license plate on. Now, the myth bust that matters. Everyone assumes the most expensive 911 is the best 911. On this ladder, the most wanted car costs less than 3 cars above it. And here's the loop from the very start of this video, closing. That naturally aspirated 9,000 RPM scream, it is widely believed to be the last of its kind. Emissions are closing in. Porsche won't promise another one. The engine in this car might be the final naturally aspirated 911 ever built. You are listening to a sound that is going extinct. Level 7, the untouchables. Level 7 isn't a car you buy. It's a car you're chosen for. The ST, the Sport Classic, the Spirit 70, around $254,000. The bespoke cars like the 90 FA Porsche Edition, $387,000. At this level, we've left the world of cars and entered the world of assets that happen to have wheels. You cannot walk in and order these. They're allocation only, which is a polite way of saying the dealer decides if you're worthy, usually based on how many other Porsches you've already bought. Get on the list, and the sticker price is just the opening bid. The real price is set by the guy in front of you flipping his for $100,000 over. The myth is that these are the ultimate driver's cars. They're not. Most of them will never see a canyon road. They go from the factory to a climate-controlled garage to an auction stage, still on the delivery miles. This is the 911 as a wealth statement. Beautiful engineering, treated like a Rolex you're scared to wear. It's the top of the ladder, and it might be the least driven car in this entire video. So let's line it up. Every other car company sells you a ladder that makes sense. Base to top, cheap to expensive, more money buys more car. Simple. Porsche sold you the same silhouette 7 times and dared you to figure out which one is actually the best. And the answer almost nobody wants to say out loud is that it might be one of the cheapest ones. The base Carrera has all the magic. The Carrera S has all the sense. And the GT3 has all the soul. For less money than the missile above it, wrapped around an engine they're about to stop making forever. Above that, you're not buying a better car. You're buying a place in line and a story for the auction catalog. There is no trap on this ladder. There's no bad 911. That's what makes it the hardest one to shop. Every single rung is the real thing. So the only question left is the one I asked at the start. 7 levels, 1 garage. Tell me in the comments which one you'd actually park in yours. And if you say the base Carrera, you might just understand this car better than the guy at level 7 I break down cars and money the way they actually work. No brochure fluff. See you in the next one.